Hello everyone, this is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting live stream. This video is going to be a little weird, not going to lie. So I'm doing a reaction video to a animated miniseries made by John Mason's teacher called Batman vs. Blackman. It's a three-part animated miniseries, and because this is a live video, you guys won't actually be able to see what I'm watching. So I'll be reacting to it. You might be able to hear it in the background, but there's not going to be any actual footage of it. Like I said, if this was an edited video, I'd be able to edit in, the footage. Also, I think I have something on my nose. Sorry, I just walked Maddie back to her class and then came back, and the weather's cold outside, so my nose is running a little bit. I'm gonna clean that up, and then I'll start up this video. And it's a three-part series. If each part's only about 3 minutes, that's about like 10 minutes of me watching it. And then after that, I'll give like my thoughts on it. I'll probably give my thoughts on each individual part as we go through. But like I said, give me one moment. I have a little bit of something on my nose because I just was outside and my nose was running. So give me one moment to clean that up, and then I'll do a live reaction. And like I said, you guys may be able to hear it in the background, but you're not going to be able to see footage of it because this is a live video. If this was edited, it would pop up in a little box, but it's not edited. So like I said, I'll be right back, and then we'll hit it up. Okay, so I'm back. So before I even started, the title of it is Batman vs. Blackman, Part 1 Director's Cut. And just based on that title alone, I'm very curious to see what it's about. I imagine it's going to involve Batman and like a normal black guy, and I'm curious if it's going to be like a social commentary thing, where like a black guy talks about like the struggle of the streets to Batman, who's someone who like comes from like a rich family and like has experienced the darker sides of Gotham, but from like a different perspective. Maybe like a rags and riches commentary kind of thing, where like talking to each other about perspective. But I don't know. After I see part one, I'll probably get a better idea of what the actual miniseries is about. But without further ado, I'm going to check it out. Also, I should put a link to it in the description. That way you guys can also check it out. So I'm just going to do that now. That probably makes sense to do now. That way, if you guys want to watch it as well, you guys will be able to. So give me one moment to put that in the description, and then I'll jump right in on it. And I'll also put the title of it next to it in the description. That way you guys will be able to identify what part is which. And save changes. There we go. So yeah, now it should be in the description box below. So if you all want to be able to watch it, then that'll work. Let's see, Matt said, so one vote only should have gone to coin flip. John Mason mentioned that he liked and subscribed. He didn't mention it in the same comment that his vote was in, but he did mention it in a comment on the same video, which is good enough for me. Now, if he had said liked and subscribed on like a different video's comment, then I would have understood you being like, hey, that doesn't count as 2 votes. But he does mention in a comment on the video that he liked and subscribed, Matt, which means that it did indeed count as 2 votes, and he did like the video, and he is a subscriber. So can't complain, Matt. He beat you fair and square. His vote counts as 2 votes. But without further ado, we're going to check out Batman vs. Blackman Part 1. Like I said, the link's in the description box below. Let's get this started. Hopefully we don't get copyright striked for anything. Oh. There's just a really buff black man. Wait, is he gonna kill the Joker? Music's by Audionautics. Maybe that'll help me avoid getting copyright strike. Yeah, he just kills the Joker. Just breaks his neck. The style's interesting.
No.
Lots of shading. I don't really like the way he draws the Batman mask, but most of the Batman design is interesting.
You killed him. Yeah, I killed that psychopath. Man killed my friends. They'd be alive. You asshole. If you killed him first. Killing is never the way.
What is this voice acting?
Heh.
He's just making noises right now. The black guy's just going,
Serial killer lives matter, but ours don't. I bet under that mask, you're just a rich boy living in terror. That one day.
Is the voice acting choppy to fit the animation?
Killed by true justice.
And he just flipped the bird to Batman with 2 hands.
You're absolutely right. I should break my no-kill rule. Starting with you.
What?
Oh, I get it. You want to avenge your boyfriend.
I don't think the animation's like bad necessarily. It has a style to it, but the voice acting I feel like is really rough. Let's see how this action sequence goes. What is he doing? Batman just said. The black guy tore his shirt, but it didn't make any noise. Oh, I guess it is making that. It's a very subtle sound. I feel like the sound work needs work. Tyrone? Why does he have like the most generic black guy name? Also, Tyrone should die. Oh, that was all a part 1? It just sets up for them to fight? Well, now I understand what it's about. It's a kind of a weird concept. So let me read over the live chat a little bit and then talk about part 1. So, Matt said, Jet, why is it that the rules are twisted whenever it's in someone else's favor? He said, I wish to die. Can we not have infinite cringe? And he said, also, when you put more focus into this video than all of Shield Hero. So, for this video, I feel like the art style on Tyrone, we only get like 3 characters. Tyrone looked okay. Joker looked okay for the style. I have problems with Batman. I just don't really like how Batman's face is drawn in this. They try to like show some of his beard behind the mask, but I feel like he somehow has been given like a weird head that I just don't really think fits Batman. So I don't fuck with his head. I don't fuck with his head much at all. But I feel like Batman's like costume and armor work. Like I feel like they're fine. I think the daggers on like the side of his gauntlets seem a little stubby. I would have preferred them to have been like actually like daggered out. I think that would have fit a lot better. Yo, Ryan, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. I just finished watching Batman vs. Blackman Part 1. It's a 3-part miniseries, and I'm going to watch all 3 parts. So real quick, I'm going to send you a link to Part 1. But the animation style seems okay for the most part. I just have a lot of problems with Batman. I feel like the sound design could have been better, with more emphasis on like actual sound effects. And I understand that the animation was probably done first and the voice acting done second, with the voice acting made to try and like fit the choppiness of the animation. But I feel like they could have just done a lot better. A lot of lines are delivered like this because the mouth movements are animated like this. And I feel like it makes it like really jarring and cringy. The concept of Batman wanting to kill this black guy is really stupid. So the storyline is this black guy Tyrone fights the Joker in an alleyway and he breaks the Joker's neck. And he breaks the Joker's neck because the Joker had like killed some of Tyrone's friends. And because Tyrone's friends were killed by the Joker, he was trying to avenge their friend's death by killing the guy who killed his friends, by killing the Joker. So Batman shows up and Batman's like, you killed him. And then Tyrone's like, why did you never kill him? You're probably just some rich guy in a costume. You don't understand what like the real struggle is like, and that my friends wouldn't have died if it wasn't for you. And then Batman's response is more or less like, maybe you're right. Maybe I should kill people. And if I'm going to kill people, then I'm going to kill you. I'm going to like kill the guy who killed the Joker, which is stupid. It seems like a dumb premise. Apparently, there's a teaser for part two, which is like 14 seconds long. So I guess I'm about to watch the teaser for part two and then watch part two. But this black guy Tyrone should have no chance against Batman. It doesn't make any sense for it to be like a real fight. Batman's like a trained ninja. I don't care how much street smart Tyrone has. He's just gonna die. And if Tyrone wins this fight, I'm gonna be upset. So Ryan said, "Hi Jet, yo Ryan, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you." Matt said, "Ryan, you allowed this to happen." Then Ryan said, "What did I allow?" And he said, "Should have voted with me for Dragalia loss." And he said, "What storyline?" It's like a one sentence plot. Then Ryan said, "What is Dragalia loss, and why would I not vote for it?" Okay. So time to check out this teaser for part two. Matt said all of Batman's morals down the drain after some random black guy kills the Joker. Yeah, I do think that's really stupid. So the teaser shows Batman jump off a rooftop and punch Tyrone. Then it shows Tyrone breathing hard, I guess. I don't think we're about to see an action-packed fight in part two. Where is part two? I was expecting it to link to part two from the teaser. So that came out February 24th, 2018. Okay. So we're going to type in Batman versus Blackman. And then Ryan said, yeah, him and the Joker were friends. Then Matt said Dragalia Lost is a mobile action RPG that has co-op features. Where's part two? I don't even see part two. I saw the teaser for part two. Part two. Let's see. Ryan said, sounds like I wouldn't vote for that. Here we go. Part two. The Throwdown. It's from 6 months ago. Okay, we're back to the shirt ripping off shit. I feel like the sound stuff is like the worst part of it. The sound isn't done right. And Batman's face. I don't like Batman's face. By the way, I'm going to pause it real quick. I need to post this in the description, that link to part two. That way you guys can also watch it back home. I'm now 15 minutes into it. Because I'm doing a live reaction, I sadly can't have the stuff pop up on screen. But at the very least, I can have it in the description box below. That way you guys can also watch it if you want to. Ryan says, sounds like I wouldn't vote for that. Then Matt says, sounds like Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't the only good thing to vote for. Okay, so now I'm going to click play again. Tyrone was just about to say something.
Me running.
I'm not a big fan of this so far. So Batman jumps off the building, and he kicks Tyrone so hard into a brick wall that it breaks the brick wall. So he does a couple spin kicks. Tyrone's knocked off balance a little bit. And then Batman just runs up and decks Tyrone in the face. Is that it? What? Okay, Tyrone stood back up. He's doing this number. Okay, Tyrone blocked a punch by Batman. Unrealistic. Okay, that could have been done a little bit, but wait, what the fuck? What? That didn't even make sense. No, hold on. So, Batman and Tyrone are fighting, and they have a scene where Batman, like, dodges a hit from Tyrone, and it's just like a short sidestep. Then they did the thing where you black out the background, and they played like a tone to show that it was like a really fast dodge. But you don't show the person sidestep and then do the blackout tone. You would do the sidestep blackout tone all at once to make it seem like it was like a slow motion fast thing. To do it like this and then do it doesn't create the same effect. It just becomes like a weird stylistic choice. But Batman dodges Tyrone's punch. He's fine. They even put extra emphasis on it by blacking out the background and playing the tone. Only for Tyrone, who like missed the punch, to just move his fist He just does this, and then Batman's like, and now Tyrone has the upper hand, and he's like stomping Batman. I'm like, what? What? That doesn't even make any sense. It's just really weird. Let me read some of the live chat since I like have it paused on this part of the fight. Let's see. Ryan said I would vote for Jet to sit in silence for an hour. So yeah. Then Matt said it would have been less cringy than this, and then Ryan said yes. Then Ryan said, "Hey Jet, after this, want a duel? After this, I'm gonna try and finish up some statistics homework and make sure that I don't have anything to read for my next class, because I have a class that's like a little after 2, and this is probably gonna end around 2. Let's see. Then Matt said, "Can't do that, Ryan. Fan polls are sacred." Then Ryan said, after he finishes watching all the parts, fulfilling the fan poll. Then Matt said, if Jet does something for 3 minutes for a fan poll, Jet immediately loses the other 57 minutes of time. He said there's no second or third place. Then Ryan said, after he finishes the 3-minute fan poll, we can duel. And he said, guess not. Yeah, I normally try to put as much focus in it as possible. So I am going to try to talk about it as we go. I like that his backgrounds are really well done. On this pause shot, you can see that the alleyway has like garbage and stuff thrown around. The shading for everything is like really nice. But the style's not too bad. The backgrounds aren't too bad. But I just feel like I have issues with how he drew Batman's face. I feel like the sound could be better, and some of these action shots I feel like are lacking. Okay, so Batman sprung back up, and he's now just punching the shit out of Tyrone's face.
Die.
Tyrone got Batman in like a hold. That was awkward. They had like a weird headbutt exchange and then knocked each other down. I just don't think this would happen. This is like a undersell Batman.
Okay, so how about we call this one a draw? Last chance to walk away.
Tyrone, don't act like you're actually gonna put in any work.
Over 127 styles of martial arts. This fight was over before it even began.
Why would Batman say that? So Batman's like, I've mastered 127 different martial arts. And if that's true, then why is Tyrone like actually putting up any form of fight? Why wouldn't you have, as soon as Tyrone grabbed you, been like, oh, and like broken all his bones? Tyrone better go like 127. Nigga, I did 128. Like, you better like put in some kind of twist, because to make it canon for like this little like fan thing that Batman is like expert martial artist means Tyrone must be a god. Like, he must be he must be like pretty good to be able to face off against a Batman that has done all of this training. Let's see. Ryan said, focus. Then Matt said, Tyrone is going to win, and this will be one giant meme. And then he said, Tyrone's mastered 128. We'll see. So Tyrone rushes Batman. And Batman... Wait, what the fuck? So Tyrone wraps Batman up in his own cape and then slammed Batman's head against a dumpster, denting the dumpster, and just repeatedly does that. Batman cuts his way out of the cape. And to be concluded. Tyrone. It didn't even say Tyrone versus anything. It just said to be concluded and then said Tyrone. So that was part 2. Fucking weird so far. Tyrone's response to Batman saying I've mastered 127 different martial arts was to go like, nigga, bet, and just wrap him in his cape and throw Batman around like a rag doll. Batman, I imagine, isn't like a light person. He like picked up Batman's like whole body weight plus like the weight of the armor and just swung him around like he was nothing. So Tyrone definitely is strong based off of that. I still feel like he's doing a lot more than he should be able to. Also, why is it so hard to search out the fucking parts of this? I typed in Batman versus Blackman Part 3, and it just hasn't come up. I haven't seen anything come up. Matt said, Jet, this is what fan poll devolves into when anything can win. I think it makes it interesting. The fact that, like, I wouldn't have guessed that this would be on the channel today, but that's more or less what it is. Ryan said, Black man greater than 127 martial arts. Um, I don't know. Who do you guys think will win at this point, based off of what's happened? I still think Batman should win. They better not give it to Blackman. Um, it's interesting that Blackman so easily killed the Joker too. Because the Joker is still a normal guy for the most part, so I understand that, like, if you got him in the right hold, you could just like, but that was kind of weird because it's not a real fight. He just kind of beats the shit out of Joker. I'm actually having a lot of trouble finding Batman versus Blackman Part 3. What? Part 3's not even here. It's not a thing that you can see. It's not available. So part 2 came out 6 months ago, and then Superman versus the Hulk was 3 months ago. So part 3 is not even out yet. Let's see. Matt said, and technology. I mean, a solid like batarang to the right place should just kill Tyrone. You should be able to like cut his throat open, or like lobotomize him maybe with like a just like right there, like between the eyes or some shit. Like all of the tech that Batman has, and his armor, and his martial arts training, just aren't really being used. The armor doesn't seem to actually be doing anything for Batman, and if anything, his cape was like fucking him in the fight. It's just weird the way that this fight's going down. It's just a normal black guy versus Batman. Batman fights black people all the time. This shouldn't be any trouble. Let's see. Ryan said, I think the Joker will win. He already killed the Joker. That's like the first thing Tyrone does. That's like is what causes the fight between Batman and Tyrone. Then Ryan said, but the Joker has a gun. Apparently he didn't in this. I don't even remember the Joker pulling a gun. Like Tyrone already is like winning the fight at the start of the like series, and he like breaks the Joker's neck right as Batman arrives, which is also weird. Also, the fact that Tyrone is capable enough to hunt down the Joker, catch the Joker in an alleyway, and get the jump on the Joker to break his neck shows that Tyrone is like somewhat more capable than like the average person. Because Tyrone has revealed that that was his plan all along, to like avenge his friends that were killed by the Joker. So for him to have done that, good on him. Batman's been hunting Joker for years and hasn't done all that shit. So that's pretty good. Plus, he beat Batman to the punch to getting to the Joker. These are all some pretty good feats, but not good enough to make me think that Tyrone could actually beat Batman. That's like horseshit. It's like actually horseshit. Matt said, but the Joker be dead. Then Ryan said he never is. And then Matt said, but he is now. And then Ryan's like, he always comes back. Do you think in part 3, the Joker's going to be like, surprise! And just fucking like dunk on Batman? And maybe also Tyrone? Like maybe the true winner is the Joker. So there is no part 3, but apparently he did an animated film that was Black Panther versus Batman fully animated and Superman versus Hulk fully animated. Matt said, kill them both, yes. I want to see what he did for Black Panther versus Batman. It's really short. It's like 1 minute and 47 seconds. I'll post that in the description as well. Since I'm already looking at this guy's content, I feel like I might as well check this out. This is essentially the same as Batman versus Blackman, as Batman is indeed fighting another black man. If Tyrone's able to give Batman the hands in like this animated universe, then I imagine that Black Panther, who's essentially a black guy with a suit, should go like even harder. Matt said, Jet, there's no longer a Batman versus Blackman stream. You're breaking your own rules. I feel like this is more or less the same concept. Batman is indeed fighting a black man, and it's animated, and it's made by the same dude. This one has much simpler designs, and I like it. The Batman for this one is drawn like a lot better. Matt said, ... Thanks, Jet. The motion seems really slow for this one. I guess that was on purpose. Nope, it's still really slow. I'm surprised that he never, like, just speeds it up to make it faster. Because to have the whole fight be slow motion seems kind of odd. So he knocked Batman's mask off.
I did not know. Us billionaires should never fight amongst ourselves.
What?
We will settle our differences later on a golf course.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I will
Black...
heal you and put you on a jet to Gotham City.
Thanks. Good looking out.
What?
Oh, and the in-flight movie will be Black Panther.
What? Matt said, I don't think this guy has anything of worth to offer. So...
Really? Seriously? Even his movies are better than mine? Ugh.
I feel like he has a strong bias. But more or less, what happened in that one was Black Panther just kind of fucking schooled Batman. There wasn't even like a real fight between them. And then they've had a Martha moment where Black Panther goes, "You're a billionaire too? Oh, we don't need to fight." And then he sends him home on a jet where the in-flight movie is Black Panther, to which then Batman shits on his own movies. Which is odd. That was very odd. He has a Superman versus Hulk movie. Now I'm curious, because I feel like he has strong biases. So I feel like Superman versus the Hulk is going to be really one-sided based on everything else that I've seen. Matt said, I don't think this guy has anything of worth to offer. He said, how is this guy an animation lecturer? I mean, it's interesting that he is like an animation lecturer. He's John Mason's animation teacher. I don't know. You can tell that the Black Panther versus Batman one is like more of a joke anyways. It's mainly just his way of like doing a joke on Batman and talking about how he thinks Black Panther's better. The Batman versus Blackman one is really odd. It just kind of seems to exist. At first I thought maybe it was going to be some kind of social commentary thing, but it's not too dialogue heavy. There's some talking in the first part, and there's not a lot of talking in the second part. I thought throughout it they'd be talking about their backgrounds, where they come from, and that Batman was going to defend his no-killing rule. It's weird to see Batman, as you guys said, throw away his morals and then just kind of jump in like, well, I guess if I'm going to kill people, I might as well kill the guy who killed the Joker. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't think Batman would react that way. Now, would Batman get Tyrone arrested? Maybe, because Tyrone did, like, kill someone, even if the person he killed was the Joker. But I don't think Batman would try to kill Tyrone. So far, the fight hasn't shown that Batman wants to kill Tyrone, but seems like it. John Mason said, hey, sorry I'm so late. No problem. So I've actually already watched Batman vs. Blackman Part 1 and Part 2. Part 3 doesn't seem to be out yet. My thoughts on it is that the style looks okay. Like, I don't think it looks bad. The backgrounds look really good. Actually, the backgrounds are probably like the best part of the animation. He does really good background work. I'm not a big fan of the fight choreography. It's not terrible. I think Batman versus Blackman had better fight choreography than Black Panther versus Batman. Black Panther versus Batman, the whole fight seemed like it was in slow motion. The fight for Batman versus Blackman seemed odd. Like, I could tell what he was going for certain parts, but he made like weird stylistic choices where you could tell what he wanted to portray, but it didn't portray it the way that it should have. And then I don't like Batman's face in Batman versus Blackman. He gave him like the stubble, and for whatever reason, the stubble and the shape of his like head and his mask, it just doesn't really vibe with me. I feel like everything else about Batman's design works. His cape's a little weird, but I kind of like it. It looks more pencil drawn than everything else. For a style that is a pencil drawn style, it still seems kind of gross. So I don't know. Other than Batman's gauntlet, which I think should have had like bigger spikes on the side, and Batman's head, which seems oddly shaped, and his beard stubble, I feel like Batman's art design was pretty solid. Tyrone looks fine within like the context of like the animated like miniseries. Um, the audio fucking sucks. I'm sorry. I really don't like the dubbing for Batman versus Blackman. You can tell they did the animation first and then they did like the audio dubbing afterwards. So the way that they do the lines are really choppy in order to fit the mouth movements. But I feel like I have a similar complaint about the way that they did the dubbing as they did it with the like fight choreography for Black Panther versus Batman. Black Panther versus Batman felt really slow, like all the like swings and the dodges and shit. I feel like if you just sped it up just a little bit, I'm not saying it had to be like super fast, but just a little bit, you wouldn't have had to have had as much like slow fighting then. It could have been like a psh, 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 like an even exchange instead of being like, because that's what it feels like when you watch Black Panther versus Batman. It's a very like slow, like swing and impact thing. I wasn't really vibing with it. It's already a short video. It's like 1 minute and 48 seconds. So why make it like drag? Why make it do that? To pad for time? Sure. But I would have preferred to have seen a more fluid looking fight, and I feel like it could have been more fluid if it was just faster. So that's my biggest complaint with that. But also, another complaint that I have for Black Panther versus Batman. I didn't like the end. They did the Martha moment from Batman v Superman, where it's like, we're both billionaires. We shouldn't fight. We're both billionaires. And then Batman got shipped home in like a jet from Wakanda, and it showed the Black Panther movie, and then Batman goes, "Oh man, even his movie is like better than mine." But it was kind of like a straight stomp for Black Panther. He just kind of like dicks on Batman like really quickly, which I kind of expected, just because Batman versus Blackman has a normal guy, Tyrone, normal black guy, like beating up on Batman. So if in this universe a normal black guy can beat up on Batman, I was like, I feel like it's gonna be one sided with Black Panther versus Batman. I feel like he's just gonna like dick, which he did. But do I feel like that's realistic? Probably, actually. I feel like Black Panther has a lot of hacks in the comics with his normal setup, where I feel like Batman in the comics has a lot of hacks, but he has to get like special equipment to do special shit, where Black Panther I feel like already has a lot of special shit built in. But overall, my biggest issues are with audio, fight choreography, and some design choices. I felt like the Batman and Black Panther versus Batman had a more simple, but also a more aesthetically pleasing design than the Batman that's in Batman versus Blackman, which I think is poor because of the fact that Batman versus Blackman, Batman is the title character of that like mini series. That's a multiple part thing, and he has a worse design in that, even though it's more detailed than he does in a video where he has second billing, which I just think is like really bizarre. I don't really vibe with that. Um, but those are some of like my main thoughts. John Mason, what are your thoughts on Batman versus Blackman? I'd really like to hear more about it. I'd also like to hear more about like what does your teacher normally talk about when he talks about like dubbing and he talks about like fight choreography? Because I feel like from what I've seen of his work, um, the fight choreography that he's done looks like a little rough at some points. And I feel like the dubbing was really bad in Batman versus Blackman. Um, Also, Batman breaking his like no killing rule because someone else killed the Joker is ridiculous. It's like a weird story premise to get him to fight Tyrone, but is that needed? Like, is that required? Because in Batman versus Black Panther, which is really Black Panther versus Batman, they don't even have a reason why they fight. They're just fighting. So why did we need a reason for Batman to fight Tyrone? Couldn't Tyrone have just been a criminal and then Batman could have fought him? It's like much less contrived than Tyrone being a random guy whose friends were killed by the Joker. So he avenges his friend's death by killing the Joker, somehow getting to the Joker before Batman can, and then convincing Batman that he needs to kill people now, and that Batman decides that he needs to kill this random black guy. It's so weird. It's very weird. I don't really know how to feel about it. But let me check out the live chat because I know that I've missed like a good bit. So let's see. Matt said, "You are far too generous to people, Jet." Then Ryan said, "So just win the next fan poll, Matt." And then Matt said, "Do I?" He said, "I tend to get sniped all the time by people like you." Which when I read that, it made me think of the PBS thing where it's like, from support from viewers like you. Then Ryan said, "So win the next one." And then Matt said, "Don't snipe me." Then John Mason said, "Lol, Matt, I know you're kidding and all, but you speak like you're qualified to critique. Are you a critic?" Then John Mason said, "I hear you, Nick." Then Matt said, "As of currently, I'm reaching the end of my queue. Only two other things currently need to win, and I'm not a professional." He said, "Jet is just too kind." And then John Mason said, "Cool, Matt." And then Matt said, "I can guarantee that he doesn't talk about voice acting over animation." Then John Mason said, "Okay, to be fair, he did this in charcoal, if I remember correctly. But as for my thoughts, he used to push us to be fluid with our animation, and as for fights, he never really talked about that." I feel like when it comes to fluidity, um, my biggest fluidity issue was with Black Panther versus Batman. I feel like my issues with Batman versus Blackman was just confusing fight choreography. There were just scenes where Batman would obviously dodge a punch, and then Tyrone's fist kind of would move from here to here, and now suddenly Batman's like hit in the face, and it's like, what? How would he have done that? Like it just didn't make logical sense what you were seeing in the fight. It also doesn't make logical sense because Batman's not taking advantage of his gadgets and doing like Batman shit in the fight. It's just kind of like a all brawl. You know what I mean? Batman also makes the claim like I know 127 different martial arts styles, but you don't get to see that in the actual animation. I thought it was weird for him to mention it if it's not gonna like actually be prevalent in the thing. I thought that was kind of gross. But I feel like the fluidity thing didn't fit the Black Panther versus Batman animated film. I feel like that didn't fit that at all. I feel like he padded for time because he only had so many frames. But if he had played the frames faster, I feel like it just would have been smoother. Let's see. Ryan said teleporting Blackman. Facts. Then John Mason said lol. Um, while I'm here, I want to check out his latest work, which is Superman versus Hulk. I'll put a link in the description to it. I'll do that now. I like that for these shorter fights, he shows how he draws the like simpler version of the characters, and then we get to see them animate. That's kind of dope. I do like that because it's just like a speed drawing put in front of the animation. It helps to pad time a little bit, but it's not a bad touch. They used to have little segments like that at the end of Static Shock episodes. Speaking of Static Shock, he definitely has a fascination with like black characters, so I wouldn't mind seeing what he'd do with like Black Lightning or Static Shock or something like that. John Mason said, "Oh, I haven't seen that one yet." So let's check that out.
I stand for truth, justice, and the American way.
His voice is kind of weird, not gonna lie. Oh, it's Bruce Banner. I expected him to draw Hulk first. So when he drew Bruce Banner, I was like, who the fuck is that? Okay. Hulk is punching a lot faster than any of the scenes in Black Panther versus Batman. So that's pretty good. I like that Superman's limbs are coming from like all directions. So far, this one doesn't seem too bad for like what it is. I really like how he portrays speed with Superman. Like how he just seems to flash around and like limbs will flash around during like attack flurries. I also like that Superman's using a variety of his powers, which is something that wasn't done in the Batman versus Blackman thing, where Batman uses like literally no gadgets the whole fight. I like that Superman's going hard, he's using his freeze breath, he's using his super speed, he's using his heat vision. And he's not a professional voice actor, so I don't expect him to have professional quality voices. I just want his dubbing to be better. The dubbing was really shitty in Batman vs. Blackman. The dubbing seems slightly better in this. It's not a perfect mix, but you can tell he's trying at least a little bit harder.
Everyone hate because I strong and green, but green life matter.
Green life matter. He keeps doing these little like Black Lives Matter style jokes.
My bad.
Why you step on foot?
So a random black
Although
kid.
the video clearly shows that unarmed Blackman was shot by police in his own home while committing no crime and surrendering, the officers who killed him have been found innocent of any wrongdoing.
I smash!
I'm sorry. No, shut up. Why does he keep doing this? So.
Think you know about being angry because you green? Try being black.
Stop. What the fuck? Why is that like literally like everything that he makes? So all these pieces are by Omar Lewis. So after the Hulk beats Superman, which I was like, I'm kind of fine with Hulk beating Superman and like a fan animation. In the actual comics, Superman beat Hulk, but in the comics they acted like it took all of Superman's might to be able to do it, even though Superman doesn't even look winded after the fight. But Superman himself says that like it took a lot out of him. So we're supposed to like take that for like what it is. So even though in the comics we know Superman beats the Hulk, I'm fine with like creative interpretation. And the fight was cool. Superman had the upper hand. He used all of his powers, and I feel like Omar did a good job of showing that Superman was tired after like going all out on the Hulk. But the Hulk, of course, gets stronger as he got angry, so he took advantage of Superman's exhausted state, and he essentially beat Superman with his own fist and threw him into space. That's a cool fight. You know, that was pretty good, not gonna lie. I liked that. What I didn't like is the weird thing that happened afterwards, where this random black kid steps on Hulk's foot, and Hulk's pissed, so he's gonna kill the black kid. That makes sense. I understood that. What I didn't like is that the black kid is like looking at the news on his phone, and on the news they're like, innocent black person shot to death. Person who shot him is going free. Nothing's wrong. Blah, blah, blah. And then the black kid gets upset because, you know, innocent black guy got shot or whatever, and killer goes free. So right as the Hulk's about to kill the black kid one-shots the Hulk and goes, you're mad about being green? How about you try being black? I was like, oh my gosh, what a fucking... Why is it that, like, everything that Omar Lewis does has to be, like, a weird social statement on, like, black people? That's really annoying. I'm not a fan of, like, when things do that unnecessarily. Also, what's the scaling for Omar Lewis's animated universe? Does that mean that just normal black people are just really powerful? Because we got Tyrone, who can go hand-to-hand with, like, Batman, who knows 127 different martial arts and has, like, high-tech armor. We got Black Panther, who's just a black person in armor, and he fucking schooled Batman. That wasn't even a fight. We got a random black kid who's, like, strong enough to beat the Hulk, who's strong enough to beat Superman. It just seems like in his animated universe, if you are black, you are a superhero, and you can just whoop anybody's ass. Just seems really odd. But let me like scroll up a little bit, see what I've missed. John Mason said, as the stream's over, I'll watch it, I think. But he inspired me a lot when he was here. I can't find inspiration like him in school often, but he's gone. Is he gone as in he no longer works there, or gone like he passed away? If he passed away, my condolences. I'm sorry to hear that. If he's gone from the school, do you happen to know what he's doing now? Matt said, I'm green. Just a straight quote from the Hulk. The dialogue is kind of weird for him to say, I'm green. Then Ryan said, Jet, what is your favorite Superman power? Favorite Superman power? I think Superman vision is interesting. It's a power that Superman only has when he's under a blue sun, and it allows him to give other people, Superman powers temporarily by shooting energy rays at him. So he shoots his Superman vision at you, and you gain Superman abilities temporarily, but because you're not meant to have Superman powers, afterwards it kills you. So it has an interesting drawback to it. But Superman Vision is a power that you don't see often, if at all, most of the time. So I would like to see it used more. I feel like it has interesting implications, especially now that Superman has solar flare, which is the ability to release a whole bunch of solar energy from his body at once. Imagine Superman Vision combined with solar flare, and he can give like a whole group of people Superman power simultaneously by shooting his power out and around at like multiple targets. I think that would be interesting to see. Matt said, "I'm green, not black," which is in reference to a D&D joke for our Dragonborn character that was in the original campaign, where it's like, he's red, not blue. Well, I think it's the opposite, actually. He's blue, not red. John Mason said, got a comic today, actually. Didn't read it yet, but Superman has a new home, a new wife, and new powers. What comic did you get? Is it like Action Comics? I'm reading like the mainline Superman story. I'm like one issue behind, and his son has been magically aged up, and the book's supposed to explain why he's older now. Ryan said Blackman OP. Matt said black people are the Aryan race. Then Ryan said, but nerfing is racist. Then John Mason said scaling, haha. And he said, nah. Then Ryan corrected nerfing. Earlier he said like nerving. John Mason said, thanks. Black people don't get enough attention in terms of diversity in comics, etc. When it comes to like black people in comics, I feel like there's a lot more representation than people think. Because a lot of times people will say stuff like, name one black superhero who doesn't have black in their name. And that's really easy to do. It has more to do with like awareness of characters than it does like whether or not they actually exist. There are plenty of black comic book characters that exist. You just have to like be interested in them and look them up. In the same way, there are a lot more characters than like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. You know, there are a lot more characters than just like the basic Avengers lineup. And in the same way that you have to like look deeper into comics to find more interesting characters, is the same way that you have to look deeper into comics to find like more black characters. I don't feel like there's like a weird imbalance where it's like, oh, I can't find any black characters in comics. There are plenty. I just feel like you have to look. You know what I mean? John Mason said, no, he no longer works there, and I'm not sure what he does. Well, apparently he's making these little animated sketches. Then X said yes. Then Ryan said Black Lightning is black, and he says, and it's in his name. And then Matt said, but the icons aren't black, so they must all be racist. I mean, that just has to do with consumer popularity. It doesn't really have to do with, like, the editorial staff or the writers having any kind of bias, you know. It just has to do with, like, what's selling, what's, like, flying off the shelves. And it's not like there aren't successful black characters. There just may not be as many successful black characters as there are successful white characters. But I feel like that has more to do with the beginning of comic books than it has to do with anything else. A lot of the mainstay comic book characters that everyone recognizes are comic book characters that have been in comics for like 80 plus years. They just have like a history with consumers and fans who automatically recognize those characters. And when you go to a comic book store for the first time, it's more likely that you're going to pick up their books than you're going to pick up like other books. You know what I mean? So it has nothing, I think, to do with like race. It has more to do about like what are people buying and why are people buying it. And I feel like that has to do with more exposure than anything else. I feel like people haven't been exposed to a lot of the black characters in comics, and because of that, there's like less black characters in comics and like mainstream high selling comics. But I feel like that exposure also has to do with what they know works. If Marvel and DC know that they can sell like so many million issues of like Superman, then of course Superman's going to be on the forefront and not maybe like Black Lightning. You know what I mean? But that just makes sense. So I never have thought of it as like a race thing. So let me scroll up a little bit. Then John Mason said, The Adventures of Superman, New Wife, New Powers, New Home. Uh, and then, is that like the name of the book? Like, is that like the full title? Then Matt said, Where is Black Batman? And then Ryan said, Batwing is, in the movie, is black. So Batwing is more or less the Black Batman, and he is also from the comics. He was introduced, I think, in the New 52. If there was an earlier version that was pre-New 52, I imagine it was like right before the New 52 hit. But Batwing was an interesting character. He was a police officer in Africa, and he had like his entire police department like slaughtered like before his eyes or whatever. And he was like the last one left to face off against a terrorist cell that he used to be a member of back when he was a child soldier. Batman at the time was doing Batman Incorporated, where he was traveling around the world and recruiting people to take on the Batman mantle in their respective country. And he ends up becoming the Batman of Africa, donning a kind of like Iron Man style Batman suit in order to like fight crime in Africa. If you're interested in checking out Batwing comics, I recommend that you go to your local comic book store or go to readcomicsonline.to. And feel free to read some Batwing. It's a pretty good series. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's the best thing in the world, but it exists. Matt said, We have Black Iron Man, War Machine, who for a period of time was Iron Man, back when Tony Stark was having worse heart problems. Then Ryan said, Icon is a black hero without black in his name. He said, and Rocket, both characters who were shown in the Young Justice TV series around like season 2, season dos. And those are both original characters by Dwayne McDuffie, I believe, who's the creator of Static Shock, who also worked on some Ben 10 stuff. Let's see. John Mason said, I never understood why people care about racism, or to be more accurate, because I phrased that wrong, why racism is a thing. It's so dumb. And then, let's see. Let me scroll up. Ryan said, because people from the past use racism, and it is a holdover from then. And people often are afraid of different people. I feel like Ryan's right when he talks about how it like feels like a holdover from the past, similar to what I was talking about with comic book character popularity. How a lot of the original very popular comic book characters are white and they're mainstays in like comics. So of course they're like still popular now. And the reason why the icons are white is not because of some kind of weird racial bias. It's just because they started like that. That's just like where they begun, and we're here to the modern day, and they're just still there. Also, it seems really hard to create like new characters that are mainstays. The people from way back in the day are still popular now, like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Fantastic Four, etc. Maybe less the Fantastic Four nowadays, but you know what I mean. But it's hard to introduce new heroes that stick, that people like really fall in love with and like really dig. So as we see more comic characters come out who are more diverse over time, it's really hard to get them to stick and to stay popular. So I don't expect this to change anytime soon. I don't expect to see all of like the icon characters suddenly becoming, black or like Hispanic or Asian, like seeing them become more diverse, because it takes time for you to like build these characters and to make them into mainstays, where before they just kind of needed to be the only ones around, and you kind of automatically get like voted in. You just are a mainstay now. It's kind of weird. But let's see, scrolling through. John Mason said, well, it's based on what we studied. You're close. He said, but they base it off Jesus being a white, blue-eyed savior. He says, that's what they thought of us, at least. And he said, yeah, that's the name. So, do you feel like the reason why a lot of superhero characters are considered white is because of the concept of Jesus being white? I disagree. I don't know. I feel like that's a stretch. To me, that's a reach. Some people argue that because of like the locations in the Bible, like where like stories in the Bible take place, that a lot of those characters would be like more African or of African descent or have just like darker skin. So the concept of like a white Jesus is like somewhat disputed. I don't have a foot in that race, I don't have a horse in that race. You know what I mean? Like I could care less either way. Like what color Jesus was. But that just seems like an odd argument. That seems like a really odd argument for why superheroes are white. And then Ryan said, Matt, Batwing is Black Batman and Black Iron Man. Rocky said, hello. Yo, Rocky, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Then John Mason said, hi, Rocky. Then Ryan said, illegal comic site plug. Then John Mason said, me too. But they thought they taught you that in school. And then he says, some Christians are extremely racist and sexist here in my country, though. That's understandable. Different countries and different cultures can see things like that in different ways. Then X said, yes, yes, yes. Also, if you guys haven't already, feel free to smash that like button. I'd definitely appreciate it. Right now we got 3 viewers and 2 likes. Could we get it to 3 viewers and 3 likes? Hey. John Mason said, how's your kid, X? I feel like people have been really curious ever since we learned that X had a kid. We all want to know. How's Zayden doing? But yeah, long story short, in terms of like Omar Lewis's like animation, he has really nice backgrounds. That's my best compliment to him. I'm gonna give my best compliment and then my biggest like no. So, really nice backgrounds. He kills it with the backgrounds. My biggest no, I'm not sure if it's the unnecessary social commentary that he makes. That's probably not my biggest no. My biggest no might be the dubbing. I actually really don't like how he does the voice dubbing. It's like really gross. So probably voice dubbing is my biggest like, he really needs to fix that. And then my biggest like yes that I vibe with are his backgrounds. I feel like he does a really good job drawing backgrounds. Also, his best fight scene is probably Superman versus Hulk. I really liked it. His worst fight choreography, like fight scene, is probably Batman versus Blackman. That's probably his worst example. Even Black Panther versus Batman, I think, had better fight choreography, but it was slow. It was unnecessarily done in like slow motion. John Mason said, "Ask Matt for that. Ask Matt for that like, Nick. He probably killed it already." Matt probably hasn't smashed that like button. I doubt it. And then John Mason said, I'll look it up. The Superman versus Hulk. He said, cool. Actually, all the videos that I reacted to in this video are in the description box below. So if you guys want to check out Batman versus Blackman, Black Panther versus Batman, or Superman versus the Hulk, all of that's in the description. So you can like go to the description box like right now and like check those out. X said, good as usual. Great to hear. Then John Mason said, cool. But yeah, Superman versus the Hulk had the best fight, but the ending was so trash. It was so bad. John Mason said, Nick, you're streaming as usual later, right? Yeah, we do the live vlog every night after midnight, so feel free to hit it up. Yesterday, the vlog was a little late. The reason why it was late was because I took a nap after Maddie left, and then I woke up like half an hour past when I would have normally wanted to be up to exercise and shower before the stream. So I was not back half an hour, but then it took me like longer than just half an hour more to finish up. Like normally I exercise and shower at 11 and then I'm ready to start the live stream at midnight. I like exercise and showered at like 11:30 and then I think I started the live stream at like 1 a.m. I don't know what happened to that extra half hour, but it's like it was just gone. Maybe I was like too drowsy from the nap to like exercise effectively or whatever. Or maybe I was paying too much attention to YouTube while exercising. But it took a lot longer to exercise and shower than normal. So that was kind of weird. But don't worry. Tonight I'm going to do the live vlog just like I always do. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see. X said 3 likes. There you go, Jet Black Jet. Hey, thank you kindly. John Mason said, I feel like you're in the past since my time is ahead of mine. And he said, but cool. I'll try to be there, Nick. Thank you kindly, John Mason. Truly appreciate it. We're in the last 30 seconds of the stream, so it's time for me to wrap up the stream. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we do these live streams. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only.